Hello, thank you so much for joining me today. So today you're joining me in the woods because in the UK at the moment it is mushroom season, and I thought, well, I need to do a mushroom video. It is mushroom season and we have an abundance of them at the moment here in the UK. Last year, very hard to find. This year, very easy to find. Well, I'd say UK, my area. So I thought I need to do a mushroom video. So what I thought I'd do is my top tips for getting that perfect mushroom shot. Now, if you're new to the channel and you do enjoy outdoor photography, macro, seascape, landscape, all that sort of stuff, please do consider hitting that subscribe button before we jump into the content. And my last tip, I'm not actually sure how many tips there's going to be, because if you follow my channel, I always ad-lib my stuff. I just turn up to a location and then just start making a video. I don't really think about it, I don't script it. So there could be 5 tips, could be 7, who knows. But my last tip is going to be the best one. I'm going to save it to last. It's not really, it's just going to be the same as all the other tips, but that's what you do in it. Is it clickbait or whatever you want to call it? So that's what it's going to be. So stick around for that last video, that last tip. So let's get started with that very first tip, and it is find the right subject. So I'm going to go through this in a linear order. So my first tip is going to be when you turn up somewhere that you're taking photos and you find a mushroom, you want to find the right mushroom. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, it doesn't matter to me whether the mushrooms have been eaten, whether they're perfect specimens, whatever they look like. I think they all look absolutely beautiful. So just get the right mushroom, as in where it is located. So finding the right subject could be quite difficult. If they're not grown in the right area, then it might be hard to get an image. So you ideally want something that is elevated if you can, or somewhere where you can get your camera to a decent position. You want something with a nice clear background or a worth viewing background. Now, I say that because obviously you don't want just a load of sticks and mud there. You want something interesting that's a bit more pleasing to the eye. So the first tip is going to be find the right subject. So here's a quick example of the wrong subject. Now you've got this mushroom here and it's got a lot of debris on the top of it and around it, and you can clear that sort of stuff, but that's not the issue here. The issue is the background. It's very dense and it's very, very distracting. So I'm going to head over to a subject that I saw just a second ago and give you an idea of what the right subject looks like. So here we have an example of not the perfect subject by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot better. Which brings me on to my next tip, which is your perspective. The amount of people I see shooting mushrooms, or even anything, insects and all the different things that you see in the macro world as well, from this perspective. So getting down low is going to give your subject a completely different look. And I did talk about this in my last video. Now, perspective is a really big game changer. Now, getting down low on mushrooms is an even bigger game changer, because it will give you a completely different look. It's always a look when you change your perspective that people don't see normally. So if you see everything from an eye view standing up, it just looks the same. Whereas if you get down low, get nice and flat to it, if you can get an up shot, so you can give it that hero look, that's even better. It gives you an even better perspective. Get the gills underneath the mushrooms, but if you can just get down level with it, you're going to completely change your mushroom game. So you found the subject you want to take a photo of. So here's tip 3, is do some prep work. Clear the ground of any debris, clear the mushroom if there's any on the mushroom if you can, without trying to disturb it too much. Just brush some of that away. A lot of the time these photos can look okay with a little bit of debris in front. Other times they can look better without it. So just clear off anything you need, any distractions on the top of the mushroom, on the cap, just clear it off. Just, as I said before, they're not poisonous. Just clear that up and make that nice and presentable. Give yourself the chance of getting the best photo by getting the best looking mushroom. So when you find your subject and you think you've got the right background, just remember to walk around the mushroom and look at it from different angles, because you might find one side's better than the other and the background's better on one side than it is the other. So in this case, I can isolate this mushroom as it is, or I can bring this mushroom into it by coming around this side and taking them both together. which brings me on to my next tip, which is composition. So once you've found the perfect mushroom and you've got the isolation or the background that you want or whatever it is you want, think about where in the frame you want to put that mushroom, because it can make all the difference, whether it's lower thirds, the top thirds, left or right, or whether you want to include anything else in that image. So in this case, like I said, I can include this mushroom. How do I want to include that? Do I want to include it directly behind my main subject? Do I want it off to the side so they're both on the thirds, one on the left third, one on the right third? There's a lot of ways you can compose your image, and there's a lot of ways it will change your image completely. So just think about your composition, and then once you've found your composition, then you want to think about other things, and I will go on to those in a second. The next thing you're going to want to think about is light. Now, just a second ago we were blown out, like the sun was really bright, crazy. I've moved to some shaded area, but the sun's gone behind a big cloud now. So the next thing is light, and that is, do you want natural sunlight? Do you want artificially lit? And I personally go for both. I like the sunlight, but obviously artificially lit can get you a better result in the sense of it gives you more of what you're looking for. So I'm going to show you a lit photo just over here. The sun may come out, it may not. So what we're going to do is we're going to light this subject. Right, for lighting, obviously you can use any light you want, whether it be flash or bicolor LEDs. I've just got these lights, two lights that I can use to manipulate each one in a different area, and because they're quite hard, you can prop them. I find with the LED panels they tend to fall over, or you can't get the light to shoot up properly. So these ones are just a little bit stiffer, and I can just position that where I need it to be in the image, just so the light's shining in the right place. Like so, because what will happen is when you come down lower and you do shoot up, obviously the top of the cap is in the bottom of the cap is in shade because of the top of the cap. So we're lighting up the bottom of the cap so the gills get lit up and it looks a little bit nicer. So I'll pop two images up quickly, one without the lights and one with the lights, just to show you the difference it can make. And then moving on from light, we're looking at aperture last. So depth of field, how much of that image do you want in focus? Now, if you want a shallow depth of field, get the tip of the mushroom, so the thing that's closest to you, in focus, and you will get a nice looking image. Or if you want f8, f11 sort of area, you get more in focus. Again, it will look quite impressive, but that's all down to your choice of what you like the look of. Me personally, I go for both, so it's entirely up to you what you choose. I don't think any of them are better or worse, but it's artistic choice, I guess. It's whatever you want it to be. So that obviously with light, you need to think about how much light you're adding to it. Depth of field, if you're going for like f8, f11, you're going to lose a lot of light. You might need to add some if the sunlight's not bright enough. So that's your last thing to think about. Just think about how much of that image you want in focus. So now we've got all those tips, I'm going to put it into one final image and show you exactly what type of images you can get. So I've already found the mushroom, which is here. It's behind this tree, so we've already found a good background for our image. I did have a look around, some of the other angles weren't as impressive. I think this tree is going to work out really well. So the first thing I'm going to do is clear the scene. So grab any sort of twig like this, just to clear any debris that's just lying around it that could get in the frame. And also, whilst you're clearing, make sure you think about the background as well, because sometimes these can still be in the shot. So now I've got that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to light it from underneath using my lights, and I'm going to go with a wide aperture. I'm going to probably go f11 on this one because I want the tree focused as well, and I will probably stack 2 or 3 images in post just to get the whole range in focus. And yeah, I'm going to set that up. Well, I already know I'm going to come down low to the image because that's what we talked about earlier. I want a decent perspective. I'm going to set that up, take the image, and then I will pop it up on the screen. See that in there, but it's composition. Three images stacked on the screen now. So that's the final image. I hope you enjoyed those tips, and if you're enjoying the mushroom season and you want to see some more videos on how to photograph mushrooms and find them, I'll pop a playlist up here that's got some of the other videos that I've done in the past, and that just leaves me to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.